Hello?
Hey,
Hey, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Amazing. It's a bit dark. Is that?
I can turn the lights on.
No, it's all right. Oh well, yeah, no, it would be best if you could, just because. Yeah, I'll explain why. If it's a problem, then no worries. But basically, the reason that we're doing it over Zoom is so that we can record the interview and be able to integrate a few short videos back into the report.
Okay.
So, in an ideal world, the lights would be on, but it doesn't really matter.
Hey Google, turn on the big lamp.
Sure, turn the big lamp on. Oh, that was cool. Cool. How are you doing?
Pretty good. How about you?
Yeah, I'm really well, thank you. We've just had a bank holiday weekend, so everyone's come back to work today for the first time, and it's a bit of a struggle, but no, it's good. Cool. So I'll just run you through what we're going to discuss. So the reason that we wanted to do this interview was to hear in a bit more depth some of the things that you said in the community, and hear your opinions on certain aspects that London and Partners have kind of picked out as being particularly important. And as I say, the reason we're doing it over Zoom is so that we can record the interview. I just wanted to check that's okay with you if this is recorded.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, cool, brilliant. So we'll start off. So first of all, it'd be great if you could just introduce yourself, say where you're from, and explain a bit more about your role in military construction and logistics.
Yeah, so I'm Stephen Fiegel. I work for a company called MagSG. We're in military logistics primarily. So we do construction services, aviation, manufacturing of small products, usually for military groups. We have a lot of U.S. government contracts, Canadian government contracts, and so forth.
Cool, brilliant. And I think you mentioned previously in posts on the community about the potential for international expansion. And I think you even mentioned the UK. What are your current plans for expansion?
So it's really dependent on where the government contracts are. The UK could be a great place for us to expand if those opportunities are available there. A lot of our bids go up to public tender. And if, let's say, the UK is expanding their military operations or logistics, and these bids go on public tender, we'd absolutely bid on it and would probably start and have a hub somewhere, depending if we want a big contract.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So that's kind of the most important thing that would kind of draw you to a particular city or country, rather than about the kind of city itself, I guess. Yeah. So I guess in terms of London as a city, as someone who's not currently based in London, what does London mean to you, and what do you think of London?
It's immediately positive. My girlfriend's brother, for example, he owns a brewery in the UK. So, business has been good for him, and he wouldn't go back to Canada and expand his brewery here because there's too many laws and regulations. London's open for free market, which is great. The people are great. There's a lot of wealth and opportunity there. So it's only positive.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of the kind of the sentiment in Canada, what would you say is a general kind of thoughts and feelings about London in its current state?
Yeah, it's positive. I've never heard anybody in Canada talk negatively or poorly about London. It's a great place to visit. It's a great hub to fly into from Europe, so it's easy to get to. It's all positive.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, that's good. That's good to hear. So I guess kind of more generally, before we get into specifics, how did you find taking part in the online community and doing all the activities and being part of a community with people from all over the world? How did you find that experience?
I thought it was great. I learned actually a lot about London itself, and I'm visiting in June, so I'm pretty happy I learned some of these facts.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you say it kind of changed your attitude in any way towards London?
Yeah, I'm going to be looking around the streets and seeing if the Wi-Fi is installed in all the street lamps and posts by the time I'm there, if the production's happening already.
That's cool. And in terms of the material, so all of the kind of facts and figures, statistics and everything you looked at, what did you think of that kind of more generally?
Yeah, I thought it was overall pretty good. I didn't really know exactly what you were pinpointing and targeting, if you were going to make like a direct message for consumers or whatnot, but I thought you definitely were trying to narrow down what you wanted to communicate to whoever's, going to be responsible for receiving this information. So I think you guys did a pretty good job of that.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of kind of missing content, did you feel like there was any areas that were lacking or anything that you would have liked to see that you think affect your business but perhaps wasn't included in the material?
There weren't anything targeted towards my business specifically, maybe industry specific things. Like if you want to target a certain industry group to enter, like I know there was a tech focus, but it didn't go past that. So unless you see it's just all tech, and if you want other groups to come in as well, you might want to add that focus.
I think you picked up on something really interesting there, and it's something that London Partners are very aware of is this idea of having broad appeal. So I wondered what you thought about that, whether the material at present has broad appeal and is able to touch a range of different industries.
Well, the good news is tech is pretty all-encompassing, and if you don't have technology in your business, then you're not going to survive in the new day and age. So it's all-encompassing from that perspective. But if you're in the manufacturing industry, for example, you got to link tech to manufacturing and see how it can help somebody. Mm-hmm. So if you tell them, hey, we have a tech hub, and these government subsidies are going to fund companies like this, and they're great at helping manufacturing companies. We already have that in-house. Great. Your manufacturing is now going to come in and it's going to be streamlined.
And in terms of making those links between tech and kind of other industries like manufacturing, how do you think London Partners could go about that? I know it's a really big question, but I'm just interested to hear what you have to say in terms of how can there still be a tech focus, but it reach a lot of different industries. I wonder if you had a kind of, any thoughts about how that could be.
Well, if London Partners, if they, partner with certain companies that have that expertise, and you could say we have these pools of companies that can help you as you enter, that might be a good approach.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's really interesting.
One example in that, in Canada, we have something called the Mars program, and it's the most successful program we've ever had in Toronto, probably just because it's actually made money. So they invest in tech startups as well, but they've started to produce a return for taxpayers now as well. These companies are now expanding and doing well, but they also keep these companies as a resource. And if you were to join Mars or approach them, they'd link you to these companies to help as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's really interesting. Thank you. And I think kind of aside from all of the very business focused things in the material, I wanted to talk to you also about lifestyle and culture, and more of the kind of the social aspects of relocating to a new city. What do you think is important in terms of the more kind of social things, so like the lifestyle and the culture and the green parks and having access to nature? How do you think that impacts business?
Yeah, coming from a city where there's not as much green space, and then seeing New York, and I've been around all the big cities. I love green spaces, and I think they're kind of dying off. So the more I see of it, the better it is. It feels good to be in a green city. So I definitely think that's a huge draw. I also like just the big city feel. If you want to go see a Broadway show, if you want to, go see a movie, it's all near you. And I think London already has that, but it's giving that focus and showing that it's available is pretty important.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think also something you touched on there, this idea of a green city is something that people kept mentioning on the community, and felt that was an area that was maybe lacking. There wasn't enough discussion about environmental concern and pollution, and London being a green city. And I wondered what you kind of thought about that.
Yeah, I think you could always make a push, and if London doesn't think that they're up to par with that, it's start planting trees, right? I don't think it's that hard of an initiative, and that's going to last for generations. Building and structure might not. So I think it's nice to have it integrated within the city.
Absolutely, I completely agree. So I think in terms of content, that was everything that I wanted to cover. I wondered if you had any kind of final thoughts or kind of like one, not piece of advice, but one thing that you kind of thought of the community that you'd like to kind of pass on to London partners, like a final thought.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I think when you ask questions to people on an online forum, you might not get the responses that you typically want. I saw a lot of like one-word answers from people, which is a bit unfortunate, but maybe just in the future, let's steer them in the right direction and say, like, this is what we want to see. This is a template of an answer. This is what we expect.
Absolutely. Okay, cool, brilliant. Thank you for that. So yeah, have you got any final questions or anything before we kind of round up? No.
That's it, but I'm looking forward to seeing the reports and the studies that come out.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to keep everyone in the loop because you guys have contributed so much to kind of our work and our research. So that's definitely something we're keen to do. So yeah, look out for our kind of communications on that note. But thank you so much for your time this morning. It's been really interesting to talk to you, and I think everyone's feedback is going to be very valuable in the final report. So thank you very much, Stephen. Have a lovely day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.